Guys, welcome back. So we've got a real treat for you today as an additional sort of add-on to our series on fitting the high handicapper. We're now going to start a mid-handicapper series.
Mid-handicappers.
And we've got one of our own who we're going to fit. So a man behind the camera over the last few weeks, you've probably heard us talking about Sam. And we've kind of got him the other side of the camera right now. So Sammy, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Not at all. So Sam, I've known Sam for what, 5-6 years now.
6 years.
So we thought Sam was a great candidate for this fit because you play a lot of summer golf, not a lot of golf out with. Obviously, you're at school doing your thing there. Seasonal golfer, as we are here in Canada. So we thought Sam would be a perfect candidate because the last time I fit you, you were 15 years old.
Yeah.
So 5 years ago, a lot of club head speed later, a lot of height, increase later. You need new clubs.
Exactly.
So we play a little bit of golf together. We've seen your ball flight not quite be optimised, and we're going to see what we can do with that today.
Perfect. Looking forward to it.
What's the handicap right now?
13 right now.
13, okay. Excellent. So driver relative to the rest of your game, strength, weakness, what would you consider
it goes
as?
long, but it's too high. I feel like there's more that I could take out of it kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some that's left on the table with the driver.
Okay. Let's talk to what you have. So you've got the Ping G25.
Yeah, 12 degrees of loft on
12 degrees. So when we fit Sam to this one, Matty, he de-lofted everything. And you still do for the most part. We'll see that in the delivery. So quite a strong grip, leans the shaft quite a bit and turns the loft down. So that was the idea, going G25, sort of slightly lower profile head, CG being back and low really helps launch the ball up in the air much easier than some of the more kind of compressed heads that we see out there. So the head shape was a big thing in choosing this one for Sam at the time. Read the weight and flex off that tip of the shaft there, Sammy, down at the tip.
LS 65 towards the M4.
Okay, so 65 grams stiff. Excellent. So at the time you were swinging this, if I remember, about 100 miles an hour with the driver, you were somewhere in that range. You're now a bit quicker than that. You're probably in the 110, 112 region.
Yeah, probably
Okay.
on that.
Yeah.
When we fit last time.
Exactly.
So he was fit for as much elevation as possible.
Trying to get that ball up in there, trying to get some lift on it. And we played one time this summer, and it looked pretty high. The ball looked like it was going too high, so that was nice to see that the driver was doing its job, but the speed increase going from 100 up to 112 had kind of taken the ball flight a little above optimal.
So his swing dynamics may not have changed all that much, but the actual ball speed is climbing the ball.
The velocity has increased quite a bit. Yeah. So we'll see what we've got today. The one thing we'll see with your flight, we'll see what the results show, but you're actually as susceptible to the odd low one as you are to the high one. The high one is the well hit one. The low one is the slightly miss-hit one, low on the head. Right. So anytime I see Sam hitting that low one, it's a low spinner. It's that low one that starts, from the low strike, head tilts down, launches low, and then it spins up because the gear effect.
Loses even more yardage, probably.
Loses a ton of yards out of that one, especially into the wind. So
all right,
let's hit a few and let's see what we got.
Like, yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, and that's been a bit of the miss, the bleeder out to the right, Sam?
Yeah, that's definitely the miss. The push out to the right or anything like that, more than anything.
Okay. Really good swing there, Sam.
Yeah. Thank you.
More solid.
So even still when I hit it, I feel like I hit it well, it's still pushing out to the right.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
All right, Sam. So got a few shots there, 7 or 8 shots with yours. Let's take a little peek at it. So let's look at the delivery first. Quick, average 116 on the club head speed. You kind of got a few really quick ones in there. Strike wasn't bad. Slightly averaging out a little bit low and in the heel, but not bad at all. Launch angle averaged 8 degrees, spin rate 36. So there's basically why out of your 160 mile an hour club head speed, which is about 2 or 3 miles an hour more than tour average, you're only getting 278.
Yeah.
So we should be a good 25, probably a good 25 yards longer
it looks
than
like
that.
there's plenty to be had on that on that ball flight.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do we want to see on the backspin rate?
Ideally, it depends on your delivery, right? So if you are a little bit on the steeper side, your window goes up on spin and lower in launch. That just has to be the case. So in an ideal, about 1,000 less, 25 would be nice. Launch at about 10 or 11.
Okay.
So there we would really see improvements. This being a 5-6-year-old driver, we're going to see ball speed improvements. There's no question about that. That's just the evolution of technology is going to lead us into that. Then it's all about picking the right head and shaft for you, Sam.
Perfect.
And do we think that maybe the shaft may be a bit of a consistency issue for him because he's gotten a lot stronger over the years and it's not maybe bending the way that it should for him?
Just inconsistently timing it. So Sam's a loader and on the golf course he actually loads it a bunch. The swing can get short at times and that transition can get really aggressive. So at times I think the weight of the shaft and the sort of overloading of the shaft is leading to a bit of inconsistency on the strike.
So he may benefit from something maybe a bit stiffer in profile, maybe a little more weight.
Yep.
Okay, let's put something together then.
Okay. All right, Sammy, so pop you into some newer tech, stiffer shaft, obviously. We're trying to see what we can get to stabilize those ball flight characteristics. Some of the low launch high spinners combined with some that are ballooning too much, that are kind of high launch high spinners. So we're going to get into the 10.5 G400. We've got you in a 60 grams X Flex. It's always interesting when somebody plays X for the first time.
Right.
It can be a bit of a transition to their timing and that sort of thing. So I've not picked something that's overly stout. I mean, your speed can spike up at times, but this would be a pretty smooth X, not something that's going to go, geez, that feels like a big change. Got to transition you into that a little bit.
Right.
That's something with, you're no longer considered a junior golfer, but when we're working with elite juniors, you've got to be very conscious of how you transition them into the shaft that their swing speed requires. It's not just as straightforward as going, okay, so you're swinging driver at 115, you're 70 gram X Flex. If they've gone from, some people can go from a 50 gram stiff and need something heavier and stiffer, but it's just too much for the swing to handle.
You'll mess with their swing timing and stuff too quickly.
Completely.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we've got Sam in the Aldila, the NV2K Blue.
Okay.
So let's hit a few with this, Sam, and see what we've got. Okay, Sammy, good stuff. How did this one feel?
Good. The connection on the ball felt a lot better. Like
Felt nice and solid.
Getting through a little bit better.
Really good. Interestingly enough, your club head speed's down a little bit. I think personally, Matt, I think that's a bit of a misread coming from the monitor.
Yeah.
Because looking at the efficiency, there's about a 3.5 mile an hour discrepancy on club head speed. There could be an argument of the softer shaft is unloading a little bit more, increasing speed a little bit.
I think he may have just smoked a few when we were warming up with his driver that may have skewed his other head speed up a bit, but the efficiency he's getting from the G400 is so much better. Like the output to get basically the same ball speed with less club speed is great.
So I think initially we're seeing much better strike location. We're seeing a slightly higher strike in the head, Sam, which is talking to your ability to time the club really well. We always talk about that role the shaft plays and your ability to bring sweet spot to ball and hit it in the right spot.
Can we pause on that really quick, because that's
Sure.
an interesting one. So because that shaft is a stiffer profile, the fact that it's bending less lead deflection, you were calling it, so it's bending less towards the target, is that why the strike is coming up a bit?
The thing within this is where we can't wait to get our hands on gears. We actually don't know what the shaft is doing in deflection. So, you know, additional sort of deflection, sort of more lead deflection would probably, well, not probably, it would cause the angle of attack to be higher.
Okay.
And therefore the strike point to be a bit lower.
Okay.
There can be certain things though with how we deliver the handle, but you know the shaft lean, depending on how the obviously the shaft feels. So you know that's where the club and its influence on the golf swing is the absolute key, always to the fit.
Right.
The club that has the most positive effect on the swing will always be the best one, providing you give them the right, you know, launch and.
So we see it's making some difference. It's just hard to tell exactly why.
Yeah.
But it's different profile shaft is having some effect on it.
Exactly. And let's see, you know, if we look at that last strike there, for example, I mean, we were really encouraged by that one.
Yep.
284 carry, 311 total, launch angle at 13, spin rate 24. So you know, much more like it. Even though the ball speed was down a shade,
It was
significantly more output. So right now we're looking at a pickup already, you know, in yardage. We're looking at a similar flight pattern, still a little rightward. We'll correct that. We'll get that turning over a little bit more. So we'll work on getting that closed over. That will correct, obviously, the accuracy on it.
awesome.
Okay, good start though, Sammy. Feel good?
Sure. Yeah, it feels really good.
Let's stick with that shaft then, and maybe work with a different head. Okay, Sam, so G400 was sneaking out to the right too much. We kind of weren't really squared the face up too much. We even tried the SF Tech, wasn't great either.
Just wasn't making good contact with it.
That was the biggest thing. The contact was inconsistent. Moved into the TaylorMade M4 draw head, much better. You were actually much better on the strike point, a little bit more high and toe where we're trying to get it. And the result of that is we've really slashed the spin down.
Drastically different ball flight.
Yeah. So we're turning it over, and the reason I wanted to kind of talk to it is because we're kind of overdone the correction, which is great. You know, one of my pet hates was when I see club fitters try to make incremental changes. You know, they try and nudge it along a little bit.
Oh, okay.
The first thing you got to do is make a drastic change, then work back. So if you're hitting a big slice, figure out what a snap hook looks like. Then you can figure it out back from there.
That's
so
cool.
That's always been my philosophy, and that I really feel like it fast tracks you towards the right result,
right?
Rather than trying to get too many small changes.
So now you can dial this draw back a bit.
That's it.
And everything will find the
middle.
middle.
So this one I went 9.5 on the draw head, closed it all the way down.
Okay.
So now I can kind of neutralise it a little bit, and we should find some really nice middle ground.
Very cool.
Which should raise the launch and raise the spin. We said we didn't. We said we wanted to raise the spin to about 2,500. So 19's too low, and you can actually see the yellow trajectory is by far the lowest.
They were diving out of the air a little bit.
A little bit. So we want to try and get both of those up just a shade. If that's 12 and this is 22, 2,300, we're going to see carry go up to about 280 and total be.
You might see a 300 on there.
A little 300.
All right.
It's not far away. It's round the corner, that's for sure. Right, let's make that change, Sam. right, Sammy. Yeah, great job. That was quite the change in the end. So we were kind of struggling a little bit to see the consistency until we actually changed shafts and gave Sam a little more loft. So we moved Sam into the graphite design, the IZ shaft, the 65X, and all of a sudden that dispersion circle just shrunk.
I noticed his body language making swings. He just looked like he was swinging with way more confidence. Hey, Sammy, like he looked a lot more comfortable with it.
More comfortable swinging with this one than the other.
And contact-wise, his strike point was really, really solid.
Was really, really good. So we moved the Sam into the draw type M4, doing really good actually with that head.
This guy here?
Yeah, and then we moved him into the 10.5 D type.
Yep.
So what I said, I think I mentioned to Matt there, was what we were trying to do is make the good ones actually go left and the miss hit go pretty straight, rather than the good one go straight and the miss going right.
Yeah, so we played around with some other combinations, and I guess the far right miss was still creeping in.
It was still creeping in.
And then we went a little too extreme and we had him hitting it too far left.
Yeah.
So the way you explained it made a lot of sense to me, because it actually reminded me of my fit a bit. Because I said to you, I'd like to aim down the left side of every fairway for me as a lefty and hit a draw back.
Yeah.
And so now for Sam, he can basically hit down the right center of every fairway.
Exactly.
If he hits a great one, he's going to bomb it down the left center. If he misses it a bit, he's maybe on the right edge of the fairway or rough, and he's good either way.
That's exactly it. So the consistency of that contact increased the ball speed to 165, Sammy, which was great.
It's amazing.
The launch angle was stayed at 9. But the spin rate came down 1100.
Yeah, so that made a huge dent in that. Yeah.
So as we really optimised that trajectory, looking at the second half of it, so it hit the peak a little further on, but then the next half on the angle of descent, it was much flatter, which got a nice little pickup of about 15 yards in carry, but a 22-yard pickup in total. But it wasn't even the distance, it's just the accuracy. The biggest thing is how much more accurate you were. Look at that little circle. Of the 6 or 7 shots we hit, and it's a blanket-sized circle we've got going on there. Sammy, talk a little bit to the feel of the shaft, and we tried some different shafts, and you mentioned something about this one. It felt quite similar to your old one.
Yeah, I felt like with the other shafts, I kind of had to hold back on it. Like I couldn't swing fully through. It didn't feel comfortable, like Matt was saying. But this one actually felt like kind of back to the old shaft. A little bit more similar, obviously different in the different metrics and whatnot, but it felt similar in how I could swing. It was actually like my normal swing, and I wasn't trying to adjust to the club, but the club like fit how I actually swing.
Yeah, it's timing, isn't it? It's trying to get the way the shaft bends, the energy that it creates and produces, and turning that into the right amount of timing. It's a drastically different shaft from what Sam uses right now, but he obviously found a little comfort in the way that it felt straight away, and we saw that in the results. So, like you said, body language. I think part of being a really good fitter or coach is that you are able to understand the body language of your student to the point where you can kind of, whether they're conversing it with you, you know whether they're comfortable or they're not. And body language is one of those things. If you see someone a little spring in their step, then we're back to Lindsay's fit. Remember when we were doing the TPT fit with Lindsay, and she had a couple of really good ones, and she was kind of chuckling between shots at how good it was. She wasn't expressing it verbally to us that she was enjoying it that much, but you could see that she was really hitting it well. So interesting stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, no, good, really good, Sammy. I mean, I'll take you as my partner, and off of a 11 or say 13 handicap.
13, please.
It'll be coming down.
Extra too.
It'll be coming down a little bit.
That ball flight's that's going to help you slash that in half.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good stuff. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I mean, Sam obviously is an extreme case that he was always going to get a lot of improvement off of his old driver because it's 5 years old. He's changed his delivery more from a speed standpoint than actually the delivery dynamics. I think we talked to Sam quite a lot in the fit, Matt, about some different metrics that will help him as well. Tee height we talked a lot about. We talked a little bit about setup stuff. So
for him to take it to the next level. Basically.
I think that's a part of a really good fit. Is if your fitter can give you a couple little nuggets in there that can really help enhance the fit experience, enhance the strike point, and all those sorts of things. And Sam was able to embrace those really, really well.
Yeah, no, it was a really good session.
Yeah, good. Excellent. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again soon.